Hello and welcome. In my art haul from home video, which I will link up here in case you missed it, I may have given you a sneak preview of these brushes here and told you that I had a really fun video planned for these. And that video is here today, right now. These brushes were in the clearance section at my local city market, which is our grocery store here in Colorado, and I paid $1.79 for them. And what intrigued me about them was they looked kind of decent. I mean, in the package anyway. Like the round brushes are the ones I use the most with watercolor, and I'm like, those don't look too bad. So my idea was to compare this Crayola brush to my favorite Winsor Newton Cotman brush. And this is my size 10 here. So let's open this up and see what it looks like and feels like actually out of the package. All right, here they are out of the package, and this big one was the one I was thinking I would compare to my Winsor Newton here. So it feels soft and nice, actually. It's bulkier than my Winsor Newton. So this one, it comes down at the tip more. So I think I'll be able to get a lot more fine detail with my Winsor Newton. So yeah, this one's pretty bulky. Doesn't come down in that fine tip at the end. So that could be an issue because I was hoping to just use just these two brushes. But I may have to try their little tiny round one too to get in some details. Now that one feels good too. They all feel soft and nice. I'm really curious about these. This one's a little stiffer. This one might be a little hard with watercolor, but probably be great for gouache. All right, let's just get this comparison going. I have spent some time sketching this raven in this sketchbook. You guys see this a lot. And I will just take some of my graphite paper. I have 2 pieces of B watercolor paper. And I'm going to trace this little guy. Actually, might need to do that differently because he's kind of in the wrong place. So I'm going to go make a copy of him on the copy machine and then line them up on each of these. And one of these papers will be for the Crayola brush and one will be for the Winsor Newton brush. And we'll do the same painting with different brushes. Same paint, too, of course. So I will go do that and be right back with you. My ravens are all transferred, and the fun part was choosing what watercolors to use. This was the Rembrandt paints that I received for a Christmas present, or birthday, I think it was Christmas, same day. And I only tried them out on this with little doodle sketch paintings. So I did my swatching and my little doodle sketches, and that's it. That's all I've used these paints for. So I thought it would be really, really, really fun to use them on these ravens. Oh, I'm so excited. I love painting. Okay. Let's, see how this is all weird? I don't think I like these pans in there. They are very tilted. You see how they really tilt towards the middle there? They're at an angle is what I'm trying to say. I don't know that I like that. All the water will run off. And their metal holders are kind of weird. So if I do it where they're straight, then they're really loose in there. Well, anyway, as an aside, when this is all over, I might take these out and just put them in here with my little Velcro strips like I like to do. Hey, I could get more Rembrandt paints that way and fit in here. Except I'm on a buying freeze. I could ask for more Rembrandt paints and maybe get them at Christmas time since that's my birthday and that's the only time I receive gifts. Well, anyway, it's a nice thought. And we're jumping right into it. I am starting out with the Winsor Newton painting, and this again is the size 10 round brush, and it can get really fine points at the tip. And even with that in mind, I did feel like while I was doing this raven that I could use a slightly smaller brush in several of the areas. So it was great for the background, but I was like, interesting. Even though I usually use this brush and almost don't ever change my brush out during an entire painting, this painting I could use a slightly smaller brush, but I stuck with it. It was no big deal. But this did remind me, did you guys watch Carrie Woodhouse's last video? It was about the color you cannot create from a primary. And in that video, she basically says that pink is the color you can't make. And oh boy, do I agree, because in this, I wanted pink, but I couldn't get the pink that I wanted at all. So if I add a color to this Rembrandt one in the future when my buying freeze is over, then it would probably definitely be a pink one. So other than that, these colors are really easy to re-wet. They're easy to mix. Everything worked really well with them. I did go through quite a bit of paint. You can see the yellows kind of getting down there, and so is one of the blues. But I was digging in trying to get real deep dark colors, so I was using a lot of pigment on purpose for that. So that happens when you do that. So you can see on the Raven, even though this brush is so big, I am getting a lot of little detail, little feather details, and so that's something to keep in mind, that you can, even with a big brush, as long as it has a good point, get a lot of detail. And I even did the eye with this brush, and that was teeny tiny spacing there. You can see I've moved to the background, and oh my goodness, was that fun. It was so much fun. I had to keep the edges on all sides wet so that I wouldn't get a hard edge, because I didn't want a hard edge on that. So that was a bit of a challenge, especially down there by the feet. But the good news is when I got a hard edge, I was able to kind of scrub over it again and soften it. So it worked out just fine. And you can see I'm just mixing all kinds of colors. They bleed into each other so beautifully. It created a really neat effect, and I'm pretty darn happy with it. I just wish I had pink still. So I'm finishing up the last few little pieces of white paper, and this is how my little Winsor Newton Raven turned out. It's pretty neat. I was pretty happy with it. Now we start with the Crayola, and right away, I started with the biggest Crayola round brush, but right away I switched to the next size down because I could already tell that that one is just not coming to a fine point like the Winsor & Newton. So I just switched one size down. I still have one size smaller that I actually didn't end up using, so I was pretty happy about that. I thought I might have to use that smallest Crayola brush, but I didn't. I was able to get away with this one, and then I got a little bit of a pinker red purple with this time around. I just had a little more practice under my belt, but it's still definitely not pink. It's more red than anything, so oh well, that's okay. We have to adjust with the colors that we have, and that's part of the limited palette, and I think that's part of the fun too. It can be frustrating, but it is fun. So I was a little worried about getting to the eye part of this Raven because that tip just is not very fine, but I did it. Even with this brush, I was able to stick the eye in there, and this eye actually turned out better because I ended up having to leave more white space, and I actually like it better. In fact, the whole painting with this Crayola brush turned out better, but that was for a few reasons in my opinion. One, that I had the practice of the Raven with the Winsor & Newton brush already under my belt, so I kind of knew what I was doing. And two, I couldn't get such a fine point with the brush. And so all of the colors just, I don't know, they blended better, or they were like bigger. They weren't such fine little detail. And I actually liked the look of the one with a little less fine detail. So isn't that interesting? Had a cat there for a second. And there it is. There's the Crayola. And now we get to the fun part, taking the tape off, and that's where you really get to see what they look like. I don't know, it's something about the messy edges that makes it hard to really see what your painting looks like, so taking the tape off is so much fun. Which one do you like better? This is easy for me to tell them apart even without marking them for you again, because the Crayola is the softer one on the left, Winsor & Newton has the little more intricate details, and I still just like the soft one on the left. I didn't like the brush better. No, I did not. In fact, I bundled them all up and I put them in my giveaway bin, but it was really cool to see that you could do a painting just like you would with your other regular brushes you're used to using and get away with it. And I don't know, it's just awesome. So what do you guys think? Have you used the Rembrandt paint before? What do you think of that? Have you used weird brushes before? Again, which one is your favorite? And if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss any fun videos like this one and other good stuff. Hello and welcome. Stay. That was awkward. I don't think that's gonna work. I should eat a Sour Patch Kids. Yep, better already. These brushes were